Hi, I am Leon Valdivia, and you are watching a video from the MIIS Seniors Expo. We had the opportunity and privilege of having an outside speaker to speak on their expertise and to further educate us with their profession and how we could relate this to our strand and everyday life and to assist students if a career, field, or if their strand is right for them. Without further ado, we hope you could learn and enjoy from the video.
Welcome to the first MI Expo Take a Stand. It is my pleasure to welcome our guest speaker for today, Ms. Margarita Atayde. She is the Executive Director of the Corazon Sanchez Atayde Memorial Foundation. Ms. Atayde will be representing the general academic strand by speaking about community development. Again, let us give a warm welcome to Ms. Atayde.
Hello, thank you for having me. Um, yeah, thanks. I'm very honored and actually shocked to be invited here, but I'll do my best to represent the field of community development. So I'll get if it's okay. I'll go straight to the presentation, so we'll have time to chat. I'll be asking questions um, throughout, and please feel free to just write your questions in the chat box because as much as I would like to hear your voices, there might not be enough time to really, mute and unmute everyone who wants to speak. Now, so if it's okay, please do stay active on the chat box. No? Thanks. So let me begin. Okay, so let me just so that's me when I had hair. So that this is my family. All my kids were in our three of them are still in MI, grade 8. Shucks, I forgot 5 and 2. One, my eldest has already graduated, Tala, so she's already working, but she graduated from MI as well. So this is me, and just let me tell the story of how we started. No? So I don't know if you remember Ondoy in 2009. And like many people, we were our families and friends. We were all fundraising, relief operations, and this is one of the schools that we helped. Now, this is Dr. Sixto Antonio Elementary School. They were underwater for 3 months. So, but they still went to school. They built bridges so that they could go into their classrooms. No, so there. Okay, so let's provide food. Okay, what else? Sige, books. Okay, sige. What else? Okay, repaint the classroom. Okay, and then as we were talking to the students, we realized, wow, this kid doesn't even know his birthday, and he's supposed to be grade 2 already. Or you know, we were noticing things that didn't seem right. Okay, at that time, and we said maybe there's a way that we can help them for a longer term, no? Not just for now, not just um, for relief. No, maybe there's a way we can, you know, help for that has bigger impact. And so, you know how things happen. You have a thought, and then people come in and help you make things happen. No? And so we end up. That was 2009. Now it's 2021, and we have been running the program Let's Read. And Let's Read is a literacy program. In other words, we target children who are grades 2, 3, 4, even high school, okay, who do not know how to read or have a problem, who have problems understanding what they're reading. And we bring them in the program. We train the teachers to do this. We talk to the parents so that they have a better chance of continuing their education. So we've been doing this the past 10 years with different public schools around the countries, different communities. And yeah, that's as I mentioned earlier, you know, it was really a big shift, from doing relief, which is still important. Relief is still very important work because it's a way for people to pick up their lives after a disaster. So at least if you're feeding them for a week, they can they don't have to think about looking for food for that week. So yes, relief is still important, and we still actually do that. But we also wanted a plan for a longer term. So if you see the quote, no, if your plan is for 100 years, educate children. So we believe that that is where that is the key, no, for really building a better country. Um, and so our vision, okay, is to provide opportunities for children, especially those in need, to be lifelong learners through literacy. So if you notice, we didn't put we want them to graduate. That's not the goal. The goal is to be lifelong learners. And many people graduate, but they don't have the confidence or the even the skills to be a lifelong learner. So aside from providing skills, you'll see later on that, diba, lifelong learning means if you need to change your job all of a sudden, like for example, COVID, diba? Many people had to change careers. If you are a good learner, you have the capacity to shift, no? Or you are in a better position to climb up, not to be promoted, no? Or you know what I'm saying. So if you're a good learner, which is what MI believe, does prioritizes in education, then you are arming them with that capacity. So it's not just being able to pass the test. Okay, it's about being able to learn better. Okay, and yeah, so I don't know if you heard this, but 2019 they released this study called the PISA. Okay, I won't give you the name, but you can look it up now. You can Google it. And basically, they said we're at the bottom. I don't want to give you depressing news, but among our neighboring ASEAN countries, Brunei, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, our reading, our scores in reading were one of the lowest. Okay, so this was very alarming, and it really put the the problem of or the issue of literacy at the forefront. We're supposed to be a literate nation, and supposedly the Philippines is 98% literate. But how come, no, what's happening? How come our students are not performing? Why are they struggling? Why do we have high school students who cannot read? No? So this is something that we really want to address. And so this is the mission that we have, along with not just us, no, we have many partners, no, who are working with us on this, because it's a big mission. No? So we want 100% readers in the Philippines. Diba? Maliit na percentage lang kami, but we are part of a bigger, and of course, not just in the Philippines, it's a world goal. Okay, so if you've heard the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, and our agreement along with hundreds of other countries is that by 2030, that a substantial portion of adult, men and women, achieve literacy and numeracy. So imagine, it's a goal for many nations, not just us, and we're all part of this, diba? I think COVID has made us more of a global village than ever, and so we need to see our goals in light of global goals. Okay, how do we do this? Okay, so what we do is we provide support to schools, teachers, communities, not to help. So um okay, not all teachers can teach how to read. Teaching how to read is a very technical and special skill. So but they have to do it, no, even if they don't have the training or they don't have the materials. My student is here, I have to teach them how to read. So what we do is we make it easier for them. We've created curriculums, we've created the script, all the materials that they can use so that um, uh, they can reach more children and they can do it more effectively. Okay, so I've been rambling on. We're good. Okay, so why do we do what we do? No? And what are the beliefs that we have behind this? Okay, So number one, it's really literacy is a human right. It's just like ano ba yung mga what are the other human rights, no? So the right to for free speech, you know, all these, no, the right for shelter, no, for food. It is along those lines. No? Just like our right to live and our right to eat and have a roof over our heads, we have a right to be literate. Okay, it's fundamental. Can you, so just to emphasize that, 'di ba? And why did we have to make it put it in one of the put it in the list? Because there are still so many people who cannot even read this sentence, okay, in the world. All right. So let me check out. I sorry. Let me check out the. How do I check out the chat box while sharing my screen? Anyway, um, can you look at this screen, and can you imagine that you're a student, okay, and I tell you I'm your teacher, and I say, can you read? Can you read this? Can you read it out loud? What? How do you think you would feel? Any ano? Nope. But what would you be feeling? Confused? Yes. Embarrassed? Yes. You get it. Okay. So if you can imagine being a child, this is a good percent. I mean, you know, there are a number of kids out in the Philippines. I have not been to a public school that does not have a non-reader. Not yet. I have not yet been. So if you can imagine being a grade 3 student and your teacher is writing on the board or asking questions about things in your textbook, diba? And you cannot answer, which is why 15% of kids from grades 1 to 3 drop out of school, and not for economic reasons, not because they are poor, but the reason they put is they're not interested. In other words, they're embarrassed, they're afraid. Okay? It's no joke to be put on the spot, no? And be asked to yeah, shy, exactly. And scared, terrified. Okay? So that is the situation. Another thing is storytelling. So did you know that research has shown that a child needs to hear 1,000 stories before they can read? Now, so before you go to, I'm sure before you went to preschool, you know, to kinder, whatever, your maybe you had your parent or me, my yaya would read to me, would read stories to me, all the Disney stories like Snow White and all that. So um, I'm sure you've had experiences of that. And that is what one of the things that have made you a reader today. That is what research says. And why and so we integrate storytelling in our program because we're trying to reach the quota. These kids were not able to hear the 1,000 stories. So we're here to okay, let's meet that quota so that you know so that they can be better equipped to read. Okay? And that's why we talk to the parents. And do you know the Dalai Lama? So he said that the planet does not need more successful people. We need more peacemakers, healers, restorers, and storytellers and lovers of all kinds. Because storytelling is really that important. In fact, you know, in Finland has the highest performing students in the world. I think the last time I checked, so I don't know now, but maybe they're there, they're at the top. They only have like 4 hours of class every day. That's their maximum. And what they prioritize in their when they were what they found out was that kids who have are given time for leisure reading. In other words, we're not gonna bombard you with schoolwork, but we're gonna give you time to browse the library, okay, and read on your own. Also, what they do is they do a lot of read aloud. So teacher does a lot of storytelling. Teacher, even when they're old, not just to the preschool kids. Okay, so it's reading aloud is a big part. So again, even if you're old, like me, I still enjoy audiobooks and all that, no? It's still a big part of learning. Okay, next. Kanina, you said na if you were asked to read that, you'd be so embarrassed and shy and afraid. So what does it do to your confidence? Diba? It just wala, no? Your self-esteem and your confidence is just shot. And when you're not confident, how does you think that person will still recite or try, or they'll be too afraid. Okay, so what we're doing when we have kids in this program is, okay, we need to repair their confidence. Their confidence has probably been sort of shattered. So we need to repair that. So, like you can see, these kids, we're making them recite, praising them a lot, encouraging them a lot. So that, because in their regular class, they don't do that. They don't recite, they're too afraid. So here's their chance. Here's their chance. Um, and 'di ba parang in a class, there's the student who they say is the what do you call that? Um, anyway, the person who's misbehaving, the makulit one, no, the pasaway one. I don't know how you call it in English, but in the schools when we visit, ganun sila, mapapasaway yan, makulit yan, diba? But it's not because they're naughty or they're bad. It's because they're so discouraged. So that the theory is, when a child is misbehaving, it's their way. It's a call. It's a flag. It's a red flag. It's a call for help. Okay. Sorry if I'm missing chat stuff. Please let me know, facilitators. Yeah, annoying or disruptive. Correct. Thank you. My vocabulary. I need to work on it. Okay. I just wanted to share this, how praise and encouragement is so important. Kasi we think it's annoying. I mean, I'm sure your teachers, they're very, they praise a lot or they encourage a lot. But it's not like that in most schools, no? So you'll be surprised, or in most homes, no? So we need to teach the parents and the teachers na, hey, it doesn't help when you call him Bobo, okay? It's better if you praise them. So it might sound like common sense, but it's difficult when that's the way you were taught, diba? Or you don't really know any other alternative. So we're trying to show them another way of encouraging a child. Or, grade 4 ka na, ba't di mo pa yan alam? Diba? So things like that are very discouraging. So we're saying, hey, this could work more for the child. Instead of embarrassing him, maybe you can, find something that you can praise in him, like, hey, thank you for making sure that the books were brought back to the contain, something like that, no? So find things, even if it's not academic, to encourage the child. And if you can see here, this African tribe, that's their way. And I really believe this, no, that when someone does something wrong, instead of punishing the person or humiliating, you know Xing him from the community, what they do is they just remind him of all the good he's done. Hey, you're a good person, you just made a mistake. And that's how they thrive. And that is how children will thrive in the classroom. Diba? Do you believe that? Do you agree with me? Or do you agree with these people that it's effective? Yes. Okay. They're like, duh, of course. But yeah, it's not common sense to everyone. And of course, learning should be fun. I'm sure you will all agree. And of course, it's so difficult to do that now online, but your teachers are doing their best, I'm sure. Our brains are 68% more active when we are having fun. And so that's what, in a traditional public school setting, it's a bit challenging. You have 60 kids crammed in a classroom, you know, things like that. No, that those considerations. So we make sure that we inject fun, and stories is are one way. And we don't have textbook. It's like a lot of coloring and all those other activities that that of course it's not just play, no? And in fact play is also learning, no? So we know na these kids need some more fun in learning, okay? And safe. Why do I say safe? Because they have to feel like it's safe to make mistakes. Diba? I'm sure their school has bombarded you with growth mindset stuff. And the reason why they're doing that is that for you to be good learners in life, you have to be okay to make mistakes, or else you'll end up not doing or trying anything. Okay? I've made a million mistakes, even especially in work. Some have been more painful, but you have to it has to be an attitude that no, mistakes don't mean, diba, it's the end. It's not the end of the line. Wait, let me check the time. Okay, I'm still good. Next, volunteers. I think a lot of you maybe have had experience with volunteerism, and we work a lot with volunteers. Look at this teacher. This was taken, I think, 9 years ago. This was it was in a school in some relocation site. And I was just, I can't forget her because she was teaching there's no classroom. She was teaching in the corridor, and she made her own materials, and the kids were so engaged. Look at that boy, talagang is excited to, they look like they're excited to learn. So wow, imagine, you don't need the best tools. You just need, diba, a volunteer who has the heart, okay? So just to emphasize how important volunteers are, do you know that in Canada, they put a dollar value on the work of volunteers? So they counted, okay, how many hours of volunteer work have our citizens done? And like in 2017, it was 2.6% of their GDP. Can you imagine? And that's $55.9 billion worth of volunteer work. So they said this is work, this, diba? This is a contribution to the growth of our country. And I'm sure in the Philippines we haven't computed it, but I'm sure it's a big percentage as well. Diba? We're just not counting. But you see it all over. We have so many NGOs, and not just NGOs, no? All you schools, all you students who are doing your part, no? There are no small projects. Every life that you are not touch is worth dollars. Okay? And not just dollars, of course. No? I'm just giving it another value. And because of all the kind people that have given, I can't even count them. So many hundreds have helped us. And I thought we would close our foundation last year. We were in that point. So around May, we had to close our office, everything. No? So we were also hit by the pandemic. But when I look back and see, wow, we were able to reach this many children and families. And it's really because of, people. There's just too many kind people in this country. Okay. So every time you feel helpless about the government or something, just think, okay, if you add it all up, and this is just our foundation, and we're not that big, there's so many others out there. If you add it up, there's still so much kindness to go around, no? And this year alone, I mean, the 2020, how many we able to reach? And I didn't leave my ass didn't leave this room. I mean, this house. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that, but uh, I hope Teacher Joy is not here. Anyway, so we're not supposed to, without leaving my house, we were able to reach all these people because of all, all the volunteers and the teachers and the parents all over the place. This blows my mind. So we've reached more places now than we ever have before the pandemic. Okay. And just to share stories of, um, you know, kasi we like to check on our old students na, how's this girl Nakaya? So Chloe, she was in our class when she was grade 2. And when she was grade 6, we checked on her and the English teacher said, what? Are you sure she was a remedial student? I can't believe it. No, kasi at grade 2, she couldn't read. And he's like, no way. Because now she has won second place in the English column writing contest. Wow, naiyak ako just thinking of it. No? So really, there are no, you don't know. And how many months lang siya sa program, di ba? She was just there for what, 5 months? So again, no small deeds. And this John Mark, I also can't forget him because he wouldn't talk. He was so shy. And then his mother felt so desperate because his mother was illiterate. He couldn't read. Okay, you know how I found out? I was making her sign a paper and she said, I can't sign this. I can't write. Okay. And what happened was became so confident and he told us that pinili akong leader ni teacher. And then he became top 10 of the class. And then now he's teaching and then after he started teaching his sister how to read. So we actually shot him for a video. Everybody was crying, even the cameraman and all. Kasi grabe, no? Such a powerful story. So this is, diba? Because I'm saying, don't think it a small thing. Even just one person that you reached out to, it malaki yan. And so I was asked to talk about challenges, no? And of course, the pandemic was a big challenge for us because teaching people how to read requires interaction. You have to listen to me, or else you won't learn the letters, the sounds of the letters right. Okay, or I won't know if you're learning it properly. Okay, so that's our biggest, so there's no more face to face. Okay, so we had to make everything remote. So how do we know? There's times that you really don't know, no? And you know that, learning is so different now, and it's much more challenging. So I think I won't, I won't delve on that anymore. Wait lang. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, so challenges. And so we have to depend on more people. Okay, so before it was just the teacher, but now we have to talk to the parents because they're the ones who are with the students. So they have to be involved. Dati kasi hindi, the parents are too busy. They don't even attend our seminars. So now we need them now more than ever. And now we need more volunteers because we need people to be checking, to help us monitor these students. No? We need more, in other words, there's more people that we need to coordinate with right now than before. Before it was easier, no? We see what's happening, but now we need to depend on more people. But as much as it's a challenge, we believe it's also an opportunity, okay? Because every person that we deal with is like it's like a drop, no? And that drop creates a ripple. So the more people who are involved, the more ripples of change. No, so like you saw John Mark, diba? He created a ripple. He learned how to read, so he taught his sister how to read. No, so if we with volunteers and we train them, we equip them, they can help more kids. The parents, the more trained they are, then they don't just help that one child that's in our program, they can help their other children as well. No? They'll be better, they'll be able to create a more conducive home for learning. Okay, so um, that is that is the opportunity there. No? So, diba? The yin and the yang. Every challenge can be turned into an opportunity. Of course, it's not 100%. Nothing is. Okay? But still, you know, maybe the 85% that make it, that's a big deal. It will create ripples of change. And sabi nga nila, every act of kindness and compassion toward others gets multiplied when they pass it on. Okay? It's the gift that keeps on giving. And that ends my presentation. So I think I went a bit over time. I'm sorry about that, but I hope you didn't fall asleep. So yeah, I think what's next? Is there a Q&A next? Or
Yes. So thank you, Ms. Atayde, for that very eye-opening and informative presentation. I'm sure that the students here were able to learn a lot from your lecture. So we'll be going on to our Q&A session now. So feel free to type down your questions in the chat box, or you may opt to send your questions to me or Leon directly.
yeah, if
So,
you're shy, I'll look at the chat mo. Sige. Ano ba? You are there are several sessions going on right now simultaneously.
Yeah.
Is that right? And all
Yes.
of you here chose are interested in community development.
Yeah, some people chose this because like they knew it was an interesting field, and most of the students here are gas. So they'll be especially for the grade 11, they'll be tackling this next year. So it's really fun to hear the examples that you've been giving a while ago.
Yeah, and even if you're like kanina, I just had a meeting with someone from Globe. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, what I'm saying is you don't have to be in an NGO to do this kind of thing, no? So you can be an entrepreneur. I mean, you can be in corporate. Diba? We were talking to them, and he's like, "Okay, let's see what Globe can do to help out with your project. Maybe we can get free load so that the students can communicate with the volunteers for free. Things like that." So yeah, you don't have to be in an NGO. People sometimes are afraid. They're scared to be in an NGO. Don't worry.
It is scary naman also.
Sige.
But also actually I would want to ask a question if that's okay.
Sure.
I know you were able to mention how you guys were able to do operations despite the pandemic situation. But I honestly wanted to ask you how specifically, like, how were you able to do operations despite the pandemic that we're facing right now? It must have been difficult, but you were able to execute it like you've mentioned. So I just wanted to know or like have like an in-depth of how you did it.
Yeah, actually I was surprised also because normally when we communicate with teachers and parents, they're not a lot reply. So that
Yes.
but now because of the pandemic, everyone replies within a few minutes. No? So that's one. I think it helped us coordinate with more people because um, they're all online. I mean, they're all more responsive online. Before I
Yes.
would have to go, I would have to fly. I'll fly to
Yes.
Cebu or I'll fly to Bohol or whatever, Basi, ganyan, Zamboanga, so that we can talk to someone. But now, I just had a meeting with someone in Albay, with the school in Albay this morning. So people have adapted well to this
To a
situation,
situation already.
and that made it possible. Logistics has leveled up, diba? Everyone
Yes.
is so familiar. We all have our ways and means on how to do things logistically. So I realize now I don't need an office. Yeah. So I think I don't know if that answers your question. No?
It
So
does.
having
It does. So you would consider the situation we are in more convenient in terms of getting opportunities.
yes,
Am I correct?
it's
Okay.
cheaper now because before, like I said, I had to fly. So it was more,
Yes.
so I have to do a face to face meeting. But now, because it's so already accepted to do Zoom or whatever, Facebook. And now since everyone's on Facebook, straight, I mean, schools or teachers I don't know from Adam just
Yes.
message me and say, hey, can we, yeah, can we be friends? Whatever. No, so it's just become, the culture has changed. And because of that, it has made it easier for us
Okay.
in some industries.
So one of our gas classmates wanted to ask, were the opportunities met or accomplished despite the situation that we're in right now?
Um, okay. I would say yes, because parents, our biggest challenge before the pandemic was that parents weren't involved.
Yes,
Parang
yes.
for them kasi bahala na yung school. Okay, when they get home, I'm not even gonna think about it. But now, they have no choice. They're they're with their child 24/7. So now they're more aware of what's happening. He's not pala attending class, things like that. So they're more involved, and a more involved parent means better chances for the students. So that's how it became an opportunity. And you have people, because in a crisis, you will always have people who want to help more. Okay, so
Yes.
it has spurred kindness, it has spurred generosity, diba? So I think, yeah, that's how it became an opportunity.
Okay. Thank you so much. And then another question from our gas classmates. They wanted to ask, during this pandemic, what motivated you to just work harder and just keep inspiring others?
You know what motivated me? Other people. I mean, seeing
Yes.
seeing the
Seeing the people you
kindness.
were able to help. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
or no, actually seeing acts of kindness from, there are people na, for example, you have teachers and they're not rich. I mean,
Yes.
public school teachers, and you see them performing acts of generosity. They use their own money to help feed a child, or 'di ba yung ganyan, yung I see our nanay volunteer here, Kaingin, UP Town.
Yes.
There's Kaingin community, which is right beside UP Town. We have a center there, and grabe, it's they're all poor, but the the, the less poor helping the more poor. No, I mean, they have the compassion, and I'm like, wow, if they can give that, siguro naman kaya ko din magbigay, 'di ba? If these
That's true.
people find it in their hearts, 'di ba, they themselves are are not well off, 'di ba? Are having trouble, 'di ba? Or namomroblema rin sila where to find food. But they're like, but this person has more problems, so I'll help. So grabe, that is so inspiring, and that's
Yes.
why I'm still doing this, because I'm in a job where I'm inspired every day. I'm given hope every day.
Wow.
Many things make me cry, like, oh, why did they do this? Oh my God. But then you see the student, you see these teachers, and you're like, nope, it's not hopeless.
Yes. So in correlation with that question, so people wanted to ask, what's your how could you inspire other people who would want to do an act and more in the community development side? So how could you inspire others basically?
Wow, ang hirap ng question. How do I inspire others? I guess, um, okay, I'm always shy to do these things. Like, it took me a while to tell. It was Teacher Candy. I don't know if you know her. No?
Yes.
She's my childhood friend, and she's one of the people who's been helping with a lot of our work. So I'm like, huh, really? I mean, I really don't feel qualified, parang ganyan. So I think it's just, yeah. I mean, I need to share a lot, share a lot more. No? I don't. I'm shy. I'm even shy to post on Facebook, things like that. But I guess, um, you need to tell the story. No, the story needs to be told, and it's not for yourself, diba? It's because maybe that story will touch someone, and that someone will be touched and touch another person.
Yes.
I guess I don't know if that's a good answer, but
No,
that's the
no, no.
first thing
It
that came
is.
to my head.
It is. I think what I was able to take up with the answer is I think more on showing or sharing your experiences could help make them more inspired in doing so, because based on my observation, it's like you're really passionate. So we could honestly see you're super passionate about this field.
Yeah.
So I feel like in terms of sharing it, I think just sharing your personal experience is good enough for inspiring others, because based on a while ago, it's just like you were happy the whole time. It made you emotional. So it was
True.
such a good talk, honestly.
And yeah, I think and a lot of partnerships, no, parang that's what I realized. Na I've been forced to partner with a lot of people. Kahit sino, parang oh, whoever you are, come, you can be part of this. And that it nanganganak it gives birth to more things. So I think that it's really about linking, sharing. Not
Yes.
be shy to share your story. Everybody has a story to share.
Yes. Okay, does anyone have more questions na lang? The chat box is open. Julia, do you have any questions in mind that you would want to ask?
There are actually a couple questions in the chat box.
Okay,
So
go.
someone asked, what other community development projects could be done? And in addition to that, how can we participate or be involved, we as students?
Wow, there's a million. Wow, community development projects. So I'm really involved in education, no? But right now we I realized that we need to expand it a bit more, no, kasi like I can't always rely on donations. So what we're doing now, we're experimenting on um, more entrepreneurship activities. So like there in Kaingin, no, that's always our laboratory for new projects. So I partnered with a business, with an existing business, and they make beeswax cloth. Do you know cling wrap, plastic cling wrap? So we don't like plastic, right? So what they do now is they make an alternative to plastic cling wrap. It's cloth that's covered in beeswax, and it serves as a cling wrap which you can use for like how many months, and then if it's not so clingy anymore, you can always bake it again. So it's as good as new. So that's one of the things we're doing. We're looking for more enterprise partners to give um, to give them a means to sustain whatever. So like even if we're not there anymore, diba, they'll be able to help themselves. Another thing that we did was urban farming because nga, hunger is a problem. So like we were for the first few months last year, no, we were doing a lot of relief work. Actually, now we're gonna start doing relief work again, no, giving food to people because they can't work. It's ECQ. They don't get paid if they don't or they're not able to work, no. So we need to give them relief goods. But we've also started an urban farming project. So we've given them, whatever, containers, soil, seed, and then we got a young farmer who knows a lot about urban farming on how to grow their own food. So now on my messenger, I see pictures now. Hey, see my sitaw, it's so long, my petchay. Oh no, the rats ate my petchay. I mean, things like that. So we're trying to. I mean, it won't solve hunger completely, but it just gives them. It empowers them, diba? We're also teaching the kids now. So we're giving planting kits to the kids. No? So we made it like a science project where Teacher Candy made this module. No? So they plant their pet chai and they watch it. They document their pet chai growing. And so we're thinking now more of projects that are more empowering. I mean, of course, literacy is empowering, but we need the whole support system needs to come in place, diba? So if you're learning, it's hard to learn when you're hungry, things like that. So we need to bring in all these elements. Um, there's okay. Look, I'm sure you're thinking kayo, how do you volunteer na? So we're also developing now a lot of virtual volunteerism projects, okay? Because we have a lot of companies who are saying, no, we want our employees to volunteer. How are we going to do that without face-to-face So some of them have done storytelling and activities, which means a lot. No? A lot of like orphanages who are dependent on volunteers. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with cribs. Anyway, it's an orphanage, and a lot of the activities of their kids come from volunteers going to their center. But now there's no more. Okay, nobody can come in. So the kids are, isolated, and they're feeling the effects of that. So they're asking us, can we please have more volunteers to do virtual storytelling and, with us, or whatever, dancing, ganyan, activities. Okay, again, it may seem small, but it's a big deal for these kids, no? For people like them. So that's just one of the few things I know. There are other people. Ito pa, as small as um, creating a learning kit and writing an encouraging note along with it. No? So there's a company who did that for us. No? They had their employees assemble learning kits, and then they would write a note to the child who would receive it. That was such a nice, parang imagine how, it's like Christmas for them. So that's, yeah, those are just one of the few things that we have right now.
Wow, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Miss Atayde. We have no idea how much we appreciate you even making an effort to come here. And seriously, genuinely, as cliche as it sounds, I'm really, really inspired, and I honestly do want to
Oh,
volunteer.
thank
So
Same.
thank you, thank you. I would want to volunteer. Genuinely want to volunteer. Thank you so much. We need more you in this world. You're actually making a difference, especially with MI promoting that line. It's just really people like you is actually someone that making a difference. So we really, really do appreciate that even you coming here is actually making a difference for all of our GAS students. For sure, they were able to pick up something from it. So thank you, thank you. Before you go, please make sure to answer the feedback form that is located down below on the description. Aside from that, we would like to thank our sponsors as well, White Breeze Palawan Hotel, Food Talk Supermart, and the Regalado family for their help. Once again, thank you for your participation. Signing out, Batch of 2021.